we've done. This being one of them, we have this whole virtual community, but we really have a lot to offer during the month. So like, for example, when Cynthia was talking about her wigs, that was actually done at a virtual hangout. We just invite you to come to a virtual hangout. It's the first Wednesday of every month. Usually Erin is our host, and she'll do some kind of cooking demo, which is super fun. All the cooking demos just feel like, you're just getting a lot of love, and it's like therapy, and I feel cooking is therapy for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it. The cleanup is not, but the cooking is, and she just makes it fun. But we always have lots of times one of our women on, sharing their skill set, sharing what they love. And it's a time to just focus on the community. So I'm really reaching out to all of you. If you feel like, I would love to come in and be, a voice during the virtual hangout, please do share your wonderful talent with us, or anything that you feel like you're connected with that you'd like to give back to the community of the ovarian, community that we can learn from. We would love to have you. Another, for example, we have her with us too, is Alicia Delario. And Alicia actually sat on our panel, another one of our women. And this panel was a speaker series. And that was on ovarian cancer. I don't know if any of you attended that this year. It was last month. It's going by so quickly, but we had a panel medical community in ovarian cancer speak to us from around the nation, not just locally. But then we also had this patient advocacy side. And that's where Alicia came in and wanted to be that voice, and what to ask your doctor, and what are we missing. And even Dr. Shaheen gave us, some pretty sometimes staggering stats to really listen to, because they're learning too in these conferences, where they say the average, oncologist spends 70 seconds with his patient. I think that was the number, Alicia. It was not good. And it felt really horrible that he said that. Like he was saying, I can't believe I'm saying this. I do not do that as a doctor, but that was the average, because they're going through so much, and really, allowing the patient to talk, I should say, not the time they talk to the patient, allowing the patient to talk back, how much they give that patient. So again, it's all these learnings that we get so that we can make the path easier for you and those that come after. So that's a speaker series that we do. And that is always done the first Thursday of every month. And we have a lot of different topics. So please get on our uniteforher.org/her library. You'll be able to see all of the different past recordings, whether it's the speaker series, the Ask the Experts, or maybe even some cooking demos, some things about beauty as wellness. It's just a great resource page. And a lot of them are recordings of things that we've done and that we wanted to make sure that we had a place to live. So in case people have missed them. So you'll be able to go down there and see Alicia and see that speaker series. And the last one that we do is called Ask the Experts. I actually hosted one yesterday. Erin and I tag team that. Erin does a lot of the hosting on the Ask the Experts, and it's really like a Q&A opportunity on the topics that are front of mind. So again, today, I would love to give you the opportunity. Is there a topic you want to hear? You want us to break down? You want us to get some professionals involved to really tell you more about maybe a topic that seems to be contradictory at times? Put it in the chat and we'll see if we can do something about that. This one that we just did was on disability insurance. And it allowed, I learned so much. It allowed you to understand like what it feels like to apply for that. And that most likely you'll get denied the first time. I think 70% get denied the first time, but you apply again. And then 50% get denied the second time and you apply again. And then 50% of that. So you do get an opportunity to get there. And there's even these shortcuts. So that was so interesting. And they're always just a nice topic that you can gain information, because we all have this community that we talk to each other about and we offer a lot of advice to. And sometimes you end up hearing, oh, I just learned something about that. There's a recording on Unite for Her's speaker series. Listen in. It was from Triage Cancer. If you don't know about them, amazing nonprofit. They're all about giving you information on your work, situation, HR situation, again, disability insurance. Do I need legal representation? It's such a valuable resource, and they break it down for you. So again, triagecancer.org, and that was on our Ask the Experts. So the reason why I bring that up, and I was going to share my screen because it's right there on our website, just so you can see that, and maybe I will do that now, just so you understand where you can find everything, is that I want you to know about all these different, vehicles that we have that are so valuable, to the Unite for Her community, and valuable for you to be able to take advantage of, right? So again, let me pull it up because I want to make sure I have it on the right tab and you're not seeing my whole entire desktop.
And I just put the link in the chat as well for Her library.
Yeah, perfect. Let me see if I can grab that now that I have that front and center and see if it works. Sometimes it shows everything that's on my laptop, and that's what was going to happen right there. And I didn't want to do that for you. All right. So here's our website. Of course, you guys know how to find that. This is where you can find the Her library up at the Ask the Experts. Now we are revamping our website, so stay tuned. It's going to have a whole new look. Now that we are national and across the nation, we felt like it was time for us to have a whole new look. But you just click on there. You guys are following through. You'll see the Ask the Experts there, but it also has all these different topics. So these are the ones that we have. We didn't put the one up yet from yesterday, but you'll see here we have clinical trials. We did genetic testing, healthy beauty for teens, which was great, defining metastatic breast cancer, caregiving, male breast cancer, cancer fatigue. So you'll see the legal insurance questions, like all the different topics. And again, please give us a topic if you want to get in there. And then this is the Her speaker series. These are where all the recordings live. And you guys can see that okay, Melissa?
Yes.
And then the last one we did was when we trial, really talking about Black women getting involved in clinical trials. It's so important, and really breaking down those stereotypes and the lack of the trials that are available. This was the ovarian cancer panel. So that one's up and going. There's our friend Alicia right there. And the panel that we had. Cognitive decline. So just sort of talking about that. And that was with Revital. A lot about brain fog and just ways that we can just, we know that cancer treatment can wreak havoc on some of our emotional and physical symptoms. So celebrating Black History Month. So please know that this resource, just a wealth of knowledge. Here's our nutrition page, a lot of recipes that Erin has done, and it just keeps you up to date with maybe something new. Maybe you're using your CSA, your farm fresh box, and you can learn how to do a very creative recipe with that. There you go. Terrific.
Great.
All right. So we have quite an amazing day set up, right, Melissa?
We do.
And a lot of good topics. And, for us to be able to do Shine, we do it twice a year. So that way, we're bringing new ideas, new education to you. But we also want to make sure that you do not miss what we have in store now. And the other thing is just understanding that passport and how you can use it. Know that, the passport that you have, don't forget about the farm box share that you can get 6 weeks of vegetables sent to your house, right to your house. If you're national, it's Farm Box RX. If you're local, it is Lancaster Farm Fresh. We also have the Sunbasket meal delivery, another one that can just help you and your family. Please know that that is available to you. It is 1 week of meals, 3 meals a week. Sometimes they feed 2, if not 3. Really nicely done as far as our registered dietitians pick those for you. And that is Erin that ends up going through the menu and making sure that we have a menu that we approve of. The other things that are available too that, sometimes we lose sight of is that our registered dietitians, they're available to you for life. You can always reach out to them. You can text them, you can email them, you can have phone calls with them. I know we have these nutritional consults that are on the back of your passport, but I think some people feel like it's a one and done. It's not. Nutrition is ever changing, and there's always new questions, and there's always new topics that are out front and center in the news that you're like, okay, please tell me about that, right? Like, do I have to worry about soy, or do I have to worry about dairy products? What should I stay away from? What could I eat? These are all things that you can always just make that phone call and send an email. Just know that we have that team. We have 4 now, close to 4. We're getting ready to hire a 4th one, and one that speaks Spanish as well. So That is something that we really worked hard on, is making sure that we had that inclusivity of our Latino population, and we wouldn't have to get a translator anymore. That is like those things that you don't have to use, any of your squares for, is that they're available all the time. And that's that nutrition service, the cooking demos, getting, on the cooking conference. You're going to see a little bit of a demo today, but those cooking demos are amazing. Erin and Michelle, they end up having an hour of cooking. You can buy the actual ingredients and cook along, or you can just watch, write it down. We put the recipe in there. And again, it's just this beautiful community coming together, right? Of course, we have the Reiki available. We have, if you're in the local community, your acupuncture, local community, which is Philadelphia, New Jersey, a little bit of Delaware, our massage therapy. And then all of the national community is everything from yoga, meditation, fitness, Reiki, counseling, sexual health. Remember, you can use your passport for that, right? And we will pay directly. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? Because we grew so much and we expanded so much. I just wanted to make sure that you knew the services that we had, and you didn't forget that you can still use them, right? If you're within 1 year of your passport, or if you have a recurrent ovarian disease, then we renew that every 6 months or whenever you finish it. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just raise your hand, or we have a small enough group, and unmute yourself and let me know.
I don't see any questions in the chat about that.
Good. Awesome.
But there is a comment from Catherine. It says that the passport is a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, so good, so good. And then the other thing that I always feel like it's important for you to know is, what we have in the community that you can take a part of, right? So even last night, we had this beautiful volunteer reception. We have a lot of our women actually pack the boxes for the next set of women that are coming through the program. So how probably most of you received your care box or your conference in the care box. Some of you might have been in person, like I know, Alicia, you were in person, where others are getting the program sent to them right to their home because of the pandemic. Know that there's a lot of volunteer opportunities that you can do at the Westchester office if you're close by. And you can come in and you can pack boxes. We also have companies that come in and pack boxes for us. So if any of your companies feel like they want to do an employee engagement type of volunteer opportunity, we would love to have them. We're averaging probably about 125 boxes a week. It is pretty staggering how many women we are serving. We have, close to 200 ovarian patients in our program now to date. And that's good. We want to get to more of that community. If any of you have Facebook groups that are only for the ovarian population, please share them with us, because we could give you some kind of promotion that you can actually put it out on that Facebook group. There's usually an administrator. I know we're usually not allowed in those Facebook groups, but at least it gets the word out to a very targeted community. So we can make sure that people are understanding, that we are here for them. That is another great way to get involved, is sharing with your place of work, letting them know that the work that we're doing for you and that you can see. And then they can come and they can volunteer. They can be a part of our 5K. They can be part of our Bloom Fashion Show, which we have coming up May the 1st. If you are aware of that, please get on our website if you're not aware of that, and you'll be able to see that event and all that. So much joy. We can't wait to be back in person, and so happy to be hosting that locally. But there's so many ways to just engage, and we just want to meet you where you are. So that way you're understanding, yes, I love doing that. I'm more of a, let me do the 5K and I'll walk, or I would love to come in and pack boxes. Or I just would rather do something online because, I like this type of platform. That's really beneficial. I see Jennifer was saying, who would I speak with about that? My job gives its employees 2 volunteer days a week. That is wonderful. If you want to, Melissa, put Carol Nowry's email in the chat. So
Absolutely.
Carol Nowry is our volunteer coordinator. Thank you for asking, Jennifer. And she's the one that coordinates all that. We actually just had a big build at Canteen. Canteen is like a packaged food service. You see them in the hospitals, you see them in the hotels, anybody who sells all those kiosks, that's the packaged food delivery. They have a huge distribution center. They can pack up to 240 boxes for us in an hour. They were so quick. Break down all the cardboard. We shipped everything to their site. So there's a lot of opportunity there too, where we can do that and actually pack those boxes and do it as an employee function. So that is a great way to get involved. And if you're locally, you can either come to our offices, or sometimes we even ship things to you. Even if you're like not local, we've shipped, things that you can collate materials that are in the box. So different ways that people are looking to give back, and really valuable and really important. One more thing that I want to put in the chat, and then we'll see if our top speaker is coming on. It is about the Bloom Fashion Show. That is coming up May the 1st. It is next Sunday. We cannot wait to have you all join us. Our women are our models, which is just so glorious. And, it is going to be streaming live as well, because we did do these virtual for the past 2 years, and we had this national audience. Now we're back in person. It's at Drexelberg. So that's something you can do, is just put that in the chat. You'll be able to see that it's on the events page. Tickets are still available. But if you don't want to go in person, you can watch it being streamed. So we're going to be streaming live that day. It's on Sunday. We'll start streaming at 12 o'clock. It will run until, that stream will probably run until 1:30. Our team will be running that and emceeing it. Erin will be emceeing it. I think Nina's going to be like our production assistant behind the scenes. She doesn't know that yet, but that's what she's going to be. And then we have the whole staff then running the wellness, or the Bloom Fashion Show inside that catering venue. Absolutely beautiful. You'll love it. Again, it's under our events, and it's just a way to become a part of the community and see what it's all about. Always looking for people who want to model for us for the next year. So if you're interested in modeling, put that in the chat as well, and we'll give you a call. Alicia knows all about that, because she's going to be one of our models this year. So we're very grateful to her. Okay, so Melissa, how did I do? Did I get everything covered?
I think you have everything covered. Thank you so very much. And Dr. Singh is still not on, but I did send you the bio, just if you want to start to read it. She's going to be joining us at like 12:30. So we still do have a few moments if anyone has any questions before we bring in our first speaker.
That's terrific. And Dr. Singh, so we met, a lot of you know Dr. Shaheen. He is like a part of our board. He's our advisor. Some of you may have, or have him as your oncologist and your physician. He was in surgery today, right? So he was so disappointed that he couldn't join us and had to rework his schedule. And we're like, we have so many doctors that would love to take your place. We always put him front and center because he is such a great advisor. And we were lucky that we put an ask out and Dr. Singh came right back to us. Mm-hmm. So let me give you a little bit of a bio on Dr. Singh, because she just is a remarkable physician. She's very much in line with integrative gynecological care in oncology. She's from the Mid-Atlantic Permanente medical community. Prior to this role, she was the program director of gynecological oncology and the program director of cancer prevention and integrative medicine at the Banner MD Anderson Center in Gilbert, Arizona. Dr. Singh received her medical degree from Northwestern University and master's degree from Harvard School of Public Health. She completed an obstetrics and gynecological residency at the Johns Hopkins and Gynecologic Oncology Fellowship at MD Anderson Cancer Center. She completed her doctoral degree in public health on cost analysis at the University of Texas School of Public Health and associate fellowship in integrative medicine at the University of Arizona. She is a longtime member of the Physicians for National Health Plan and currently serves on their executive committee. Nina and I, who is also one of our program managers, got the honor of meeting her. and working with her. And she's going to be a really great ambassador for us. She's going to be recruiting and helping us, with ovarian patients all around the nation. So we're really happy to have her on board, really happy to see that she's, coming into our community and wants to serve as a advisor for us and an ambassador, and really just trying to start recruiting patients, that are in need. So we're happy to have her jump on. I see Angela said that Dr. Shaheen is your doctor as well. So nice to see that. And yeah, if we can, she should be here in a couple minutes. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but I had to make sure I, gave her that 12:30 slot. It was supposed to be the 12:15 slot. So we're like, yeah, we can fill the space. We can keep chatting, but boy, that time tends to go a little slower when you're like, wait a minute.
So can you talk, this is Katie, can you talk
Yeah.
a little bit more about Bloom? I haven't been before, so I was just wondering, I think there's a silent auction, and I just don't know what else to expect. I
Yeah.
thought maybe that
Yeah.
might be good for those of us who haven't been. I'm so excited to meet some people in person, so.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Katie. And thanks for teeing that up for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So Bloom is, we usually have about 300, 350, mostly women come to the event. It's a fashion show that our women are our models. There is going to be a silent auction. There are going to be raffles. We usually do these card raffles now, which are so great because it's one number and it's a sheet, which is a lot, when you have to put your name on raffles, but they're always super fun. We have a lot of grand prize raffles. I shouldn't say a lot. We have 3 major grand prize raffles and then a lot of smaller raffles. The grand prize raffles are extraordinary, everything from an amazing home that Nina is at North Carolina that home is from, is a wonderful getaway for a week. We also have a Tish boutique, like $1,000 shopping spree, which is super fun, very popular. And you can buy these chances, so you can get those online or you can buy them at the event. I'm really glad you're coming, Kate. That's great. And then there's raffles that we have all different kinds of things, everything from amazing champagne and chocolate to a beautiful dress and you name it. It's just fun. It's just joyful. We end up having the event and the women end up doing 3 different looks. So we have a beautiful lunch. Usually, it's very forward with our type of food philosophy. And then we have this wonderful lunch and the models come out, and Cameron is our special events director. She's the MC along with myself. And then we end up just talking about the looks and what they're wearing and walking the runway. And we tell a little bit about each model as she comes down the runway. They go through 3 times. They usually bring on one of the looks a loved one that wants to walk by their side. So anybody who wants to walk by, their side is always welcome. Sometimes we have children, sometimes we have spouses, sometimes we have girlfriends. Everybody is welcome, and it's really joyful. If you guys wanted to see what the virtual felt like, we were just in awe on how that transpired. It ended up resonating through the screen the last 2 years virtually, and we just couldn't get over how much it works so well. And that is on our website. So you can get to our YouTube channel and you can look under videos and you'll see a highlight reel, and you'll see those highlights from 2020 or 2021. And to hear the women's stories, like so up close and personal. I think Frances is on, and she was actually one of our models during the pandemic, and, modeled. I still can see her twirling, in her dress in her home runway, modeling for us. And now is like, a face of a lot of our PR materials. She allowed us to photograph her in her home, and we were just so grateful to that. But yeah, it's such a joyful event. Anything else that you can think of, Kate, that you would want to know?
No, that's great. I'm just so excited. I'm excited to meet other people and to give you and Erin and Michelle and others just a big hug and a thank you. So I'm thrilled. I can't wait till May 1st. And I want to see Alicia and walking the runway.
Yeah, super fun, super fun. And then we're always looking for ladies the following year. So if it feels like it's up your alley and you feel like you want to put something on, Alicia doesn't even know this. Maybe she does. Anna Ono is one of our partners. That's this beautiful line of lingerie, bras, just lovely, it makes you feel so good. I kid with Dana is the owner, and I kid with her because I don't think I wore a bra for 13 years, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I could do that again. Right. as a breast cancer survivor, but they have this beautiful line, just a beautiful line. And all of our models are getting gifted that line. So they'll be able to wear that if they want to underneath their outfits. And they want to show a little lace, they can show a little lace too. Up to them. Yeah, whatever they want. Yeah. So I do see Dr. Singh has come in. Is that correct?
Yeah, she has, definitely.
Well, thank you for joining, Dr. Singh. I was trying to make sure I was able to, I already did your introduction and bio. We gave them a whole nice little outline of, what we have in store and what we have in our program that they can take advantage of. You do have women, all ovarian, from around the nation. So they've heard plenty from me. Dr. Singh, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited to get to join you guys. Unexpected Friday surprise for me.
Yeah.
And I have a few minutes. So I thought I am an integrative GYN oncologist. I currently work with Kaiser here in the Mid-Atlantic area, and I'll be moving down to Norfolk at in the fall. And so I thought I would just take a few minutes, run through some quick slides that kind of talk a little bit about integrative approaches to oncology, and think about, how lifestyle impacts outcomes. And then hopefully have a few minutes to answer some questions for you guys. I know you have a tight program, so can I share my screen?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, let's go. Make sure I don't have any patient things open on my screen. And I don't. Perfect. I'm sorry, technology. At this point, you think we'd be better? All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet, Dr. Singh, but you should be able, you have co-hosting permission, so.
All right, there we go.
There we go.
Perfect. All right, so you guys heard a little bit about me. I'm a GYN oncologist. I've been in practice since 1999. And I was lucky enough to have some patients who influenced me to do some integrative medicine training about 5 years into my practice, which I did at the Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine, which is a great group. And Andy Well kind of is the soul and the mind behind that, but they've got a great bunch of people who do great work. And, obviously, in some ways, it's weird to be like an expert talking to you guys who have ovarian cancer. The truth is, you guys are experts, right? You know what it means. And best standard care does keep getting, right? Surgery and now having minimally invasive things, chemotherapy with good drugs to support them, focused radiation when it's the right thing, immunotherapy when it's the right thing. And, I use the word targeted therapy. Obviously, in ovarian cancer, we're thinking about things like PARP inhibitors that specifically take advantage of some of the genetic mistakes in cancers. So there's a lot of exciting standard therapies. But then there's all the other things that help people to survive cancer, right? Best care, how we eat, how we exercise, how we manage stress, who's supporting us through all of this? Are we getting enough sleep? Are we avoiding things that are not good for us? And it's in that context that I think we're really learning that taking care of cancer isn't just about those best care things. It's about a lot of things. And there's a lot of places where we can do things better. So when I say integrative oncology, basically I just mean thinking about the best standard things we have and then thinking about everything else that's out there. And that can get a little muddy because there's a lot of things that haven't been studied well, and we'll talk about why they don't get studied well. And then there's a lot of things that you hear from one person, it was effective for them, but if you try to look it up in the research, you don't find effectiveness data. And so kind of weighing those risks and benefits that we do in cancer care anyway, but especially kind of in this world of herbs and supplements and other things that gets challenging. a lot of people ask me when I think about diet, when I talk about diet, about the ketogenic diet. And ketogenic diet is a really interesting one, because certainly in brain cancers, there seems to be some good benefit, and it's about taking out carbs and sugars to change your body's chemical balance essentially and put you into ketosis. The tricky thing about it is, as we were researching ketogenic diet, we gained more knowledge about kind of fasting. And in some ways, you know, ketogenesis was mimicking fasting. And I actually think when it comes to cancer, this is a more interesting place to think and research, and not necessarily focusing on fasting or fasting mimicking diets as a way to lose weight, but as a way to think about, is there a way that I can get through my treatment better? So when we say fasting, there's lots of different things and lots of things that have been studied, you know, water fasting, you know, what they call dry fasting, or just limiting certain foods. In the long run, as we learn more and more, I think this phrase fasting mimicking is going to become the real one. And why I say that is because there probably are foods that our body doesn't change its chemistry around. You know, nuts might be some of them, oils might be some of them, but there's probably some foods that mimic fasting and so enable us to get the benefits. But what might be the benefits? The biggest benefit we think, and that's what was in most of the animal studies, is that if fasting, like our normal cells were always stronger and better than cancer cells. And one of the reasons you can get chemotherapy and it damages your normal cells, but you survive, and it manages to kill and wipe out cancer cells, is because cancer cells are more vulnerable. And so fasting, we think, enables our healthy cells to say, oh, we're fasting, we should go and be dormant and rest. And it does seem like that's true so far in the very early stages of data, that maybe we're seeing less damage to the bone marrow, less damage, not to hair loss, but to some of the mucositis and other changes that people see. The tricky part is this: very limited real studies. And there are some ongoing randomized trials, including one at NIH, but it's same as ketogenic diet, like it hasn't been proven yet. And, you know, for all of you who've gotten chemo, like, you know, that like one more thing to throw off the balance that you achieve that helps you get your chemo may not be the thing for you. But I think, again, like as we think about what else is out there that we can do to help people get through treatment, I think this is an exciting area to keep your ear to the ground for data as it comes out. And even in weight loss, it seems like the thing that some people's chemistries or some people benefit from is this last thing I said, intermittent fasting, as opposed to complete fasting. And again, you know, when we think about the technology of genetics and how genetics helped us find PARP inhibitors and really find a new tool against ovarian cancer, at some point, I think we will figure out the genetics of who should eat what when, right? You guys all know people who, like, they add carbs to their diet. Next thing you know, they gain 20 pounds, and they take carbs out and they feel better. Well, someday we'll figure out what was the gene that told us that. And I think the same is true of intermittent fasting. You know, it seems like men seem to do better with weight loss and intermittent fasting than women. Some people who do well on protein-based or, you know, more of that keto diet variety seem to be doing better with fasting, versus other people like are miserable and are tired, and, you know, then fasting obviously isn't for them. And I think over time we'll be able to know, you know, when kids are young, like, you know, what are their genes? Maybe they should be vegans, maybe they shouldn't, maybe they should eat more protein, maybe they shouldn't. I'm talking more than I should be. I think this is the healthiest way to go, thinking about the anti-inflammatory diet, which is essentially the Mediterranean diet, plus this remembrance that there are some foods that are maybe sort of superfoods as we think about things like foods that are rich in omega-3 vegetables, as we think about all those herbs that seem like they have, you know, antibacterial properties and anti-cancer properties, things like, you know, garlic and ginger and turmeric and cinnamon. And, you know, I find this slide I love this slide because, you know, this is this issue of like, why do we even think about herbs and supplements and why do we talk about them? And the reason is as we look at, and this is kind of, you know, this is the worst epidemiologic way of thinking about individualized care, but like countries where there seems to be more spice production somehow seem to have less cancer. And we have data like that, right? There was also awesome data showing that people who ate more orange and yellow fruits and vegetables consistently had lower cancer rates across multiple different countries. We think this is part of why the Mediterranean diet is so good, but you know, in Asia and other countries. And so logically, we said to ourselves, well, what's in orange and yellow fruits and vegetables that is helping people have these lower rates of cancer? And well, what is in carrots? Beta carotene. And it's in mangoes and it's in squash and it's in all of these yellow and orange fruits and vegetables. And so we decided we would do trials. And basically we did some large prevention trials looking at forms of vitamin A. And the tricky thing about cancer prevention trials is sometimes that might mean you're going to try to follow people from their 20s to their 50s. Well, that's a 30-year study and it's really hard to do and it's hard to keep track of people. So as the researchers were designing these trials, they were like, well, how about if we could identify who's at risk for getting cancer and see if we can protect them? So they gathered up smokers and put them on these, you know, pills, not lots of yellow and orange fruits and vegetables, but pills that contained beta carotene. And then they said to themselves, well, beta carotene, that needs to be activated by your body. So maybe we should go to the active form of vitamin A and use retinol palmitate instead. And lo and behold, they found that they substantially increased the risk of getting cancer in these smokers who were taking their supplements. Now, what? Well, then we thought about it a little harder. And what we know is vitamin A is something called a differentiating agent. That is, like if there's a stem cell and it's thinking about being a liver cell or it's thinking about being a bone cell, it uses vitamin A to walk the path to help it get to there. And it was theorized that, you know, and I don't know if you guys have ever been like, you know, if tried a retinol product and it says don't use it if you're thinking about getting pregnant. It's because taking retinoids while you're pregnant can cause birth defects because it messes with that differentiating process, right? So the thought theory was that, well, smokers might have had a bunch of precancers that were thinking about not being cancer or not and hadn't. And meanwhile, that retinol that was already activated got in there and it pushed them along a path. And then the other part of it was maybe there's something about beta carotene with all the cellulose and fiber that's in a carrot or the other antioxidants that are in those. And maybe you really can't put a you know, I say apple in a capsule, but in this case, it'd be carrot in a capsule, right? And then there's the interactions of food components, right? We know that like eating an orange is much healthier for us in terms of what our body sees in terms of blood sugar than drinking a glass of orange juice. And we think that's because the fiber's out and suddenly then your body instantly gets the sugar versus when you eat an orange, it gets broken down slowly and the sugar gets into your body slowly. Anyway, so this is the tricky thing for me about when people get all excited about an herb they read about or a supplement that someone told them about, because sometimes the population data doesn't translate to individual data. And what I always tell you is like this little table, we use this for cancer care, right? We do surgery all the time, and surgery is all the way down here in this red part, which is definite known harm, but there's definite known benefit. And so we do surgery. Same with radiation, same with chemo. And I think that as you think about herbs and supplements, you know, you have to do the same math. How much research is out there? And Sloan Kettering has a great website for looking at herbs and supplements for cancer care in particular, for drugs that might interact, for drugs that might have potential harm. And we have to just keep doing this same math, kind of weighing the risks and benefits in terms of what we know and what we don't know. And unfortunately, the United States is different than Europe. In Europe, herbal preparations are regulated by their FDA. And so if you buy a jar of echinacea, you know it's echinacea in there. That is not true in America. And there, unfortunately, are companies that sell, bottles of things that aren't exactly what they say in them. And there's a website called Consumer Labs that does a really good job of trying to help people with this, of trying to help people make decisions. And they study, what brand of turmeric actually has turmeric in it and how much turmeric is in there. Is it the same as they say is in there? But your doctor and pharmacist can help you with this too. And since we're running short of time and I wanted to give you guys time to talk, there are some herbs out there that I think about that I recommend, and I can take a few minutes to talk about those, or we can just take questions. I don't know if the group wants to comment on if you have a preference. What do you think, Melissa?
I think, your presentation is great and you've brought about some really great points. So I'd love to open it up for questions. Even Erin and I were chatting via text and she's like, oh, I love this information. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, certainly feel free to either come off of mute, or you can just put it in the chat and we will certainly, and one is in there from Susan, says that we'd definitely like to hear more about the herbs.
Oh, you want to? So let's do it. Let's keep moving then. So I think there's a lot of good things out there. You guys can still see me?
We can see you. You're
perfect. Or oh, you see me, you don't see my
screen.
Yeah,
yes.
not the slide.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Right, I swear I could do the robot just fine, but not Zoom, right? Not Zoom. All right, let's go.
All the platforms are different. We understand. There you go.
We have our one here. All right. So herbs that I think that are good out there for some symptoms for anxiety, insomnia, melatonin. Wow, there's so much info out there about melatonin. And what I'd say is, it's interesting, stay on it. It has some benefits both for anxiety and insomnia. The dose is what's controversial. For sure, somewhere between 3 and 10 milligrams is safe. There's a company out there called Natural that is good. But again, I would talk to your pharmacist about this. 5-HTP, which is the precursor to serotonin and melatonin, also seems to help people a lot with anxiety. Valerian, especially in tea forms, lemon balm and chamomile, also all in tea forms, seem to benefit a lot of people. Valerian smells stinky as all get up, so you have to be willing to tolerate it. My sister doesn't mind it. I can't stand it. Kava is another interesting one that got a lot of bad press because there was a company in the United States that was kind of taking the whole Kava plant and giving it to people, and people were seeing liver issues. And again, it's a specific part of the Kava plant that seems to have benefits for anxiety. And there's a company called Eclectic Therapies. That's a good and safe one for Kava. For nausea, things like ginger and peppermint, both as essential oils and as supplements. Ginger is kind of an interesting one. There's some studies that say in some ways it's very similar to the drug metoclopramide, or the common brand name is Reglan, that it seems to have similar benefits. But for the same reason, you have to do it in a capsule form, because if you're going to do a dose that high, because otherwise it can be irritating. On the other hand, a lot of people love chewing on ginger chews and the crystallized ginger. For immune support, there's some interesting data, both on astragalus, which is a traditional Chinese medicine herb that's been used a lot and is very safe, and is definitely safe with cisplatin, because they did a bunch of studies in China in lung cancer patients on platinum. And then turmeric is another one that may provide some support to the immune system. One of the places I personally love herbs and supplements are in the parts of the cancer support space that we don't have good regular therapies for, right? For nausea, the truth is Zofran's pretty awesome, although it's constipating. And so I'm less enthused about herbs in that setting where we have good standard therapies where I can predict the dose and not be worried about what's in a jar. But for things like cancer-related fatigue and chemo brain, where really the only proven modality is physical therapy and being physically active, I think these herbs can be beneficial. Ashwagandha, ginseng, rhodiola, again, like, it's worth it to look these over. Ultimately, before you start taking something, you'll need to talk to a provider. There's great integrative medicine providers out there in the world. Lots of oncology centers have an integrative medicine program, and that's who I would sit down with to talk about kind of what might be right for you and what drugs are you on, and so what interactions there might be. Decreased libido, again, one where the 3 FDA-approved therapies for women are really not very effective and have a lot of side effects. My favorite on this list is maca. It comes as a powder, and actually it's a very safe, it's a vegetable. And some people use maca, and it's used pretty broadly in South America as something to support energy levels, and people put it in shakes. But that has benefits. Korean red ginseng seems to have some benefits for women, and it helps with the fatigue also. And so for some people, you know, if we look at all the symptoms together, it might make sense to do something like that. And then of the ones out there for menopausal symptoms, black cohosh has the most research behind it. But again, you know, remembering that, you know, things that we can do in our diet as whole foods often means that we get multiple benefits, and ground flaxseed is a really interesting one. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed twice a day seems to help with hot flashes, but it's also a great source of lignans, omega-3 fats, and fiber. And so again, like the herbs being interesting, things you need to talk to your providers about if you would consider them, because they do, just like other medications, interact with other medicines, but also thinking about using whole food approaches. And then in the world of integrative medicine, just, you know, acupuncture having a lot of benefits. And the one that I like it the most for is peripheral neuropathy prevention. If it's possible to get acupuncture during your treatment, during your chemo treatment, it seems like we see the most benefits in terms of preventing peripheral neuropathy. And I guess the last, I will take 2 seconds to just touch on stress. And, you know, back when I was a OB/GYN oncologist and I had just finished my training, you know, people would ask me, you know, God, I went through the worst divorce, or I lost my mom, or one of my kids was sick. And it seems like 6 months after that, that's when I got this cancer. And the party line used to be like, well, we don't think they're related, ma'am. And well, we don't know. And lo and behold, as we did more and more research, we figured out that, of course, right, that if stress disrupts our normal nervous system and turns on our adrenaline and turns on our cortisol and turns off the half of our nervous system where cells are repaired, right, this parasympathetic nervous system, that's when there's a signal to our body like, okay, we're resting now. You can digest food, you can take in nutrition. You need to go fix all those genetic mistakes that are out there. It's become quite clear from all the research that stress increases the likelihood of getting cancer, and that even if we can't eliminate stress from our existence, we can decrease the adrenaline cortisol response we have, we have the potential to improve our overall health and improve our body's ability to treat and prevent cancer. And there's lots of ways to do it, right? How do you turn off the adrenaline cortisol thing? Cortisol, like, there's some people I talk to and they'll say, look, I'm not really stressed. I retired. But the weird thing is there's like a caveman in our body. And when we multitask, when we drive, when we're sad, when we're angry, the caveman only knows one way to respond, and that is adrenaline and cortisol. And the chain of events that's about being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and getting blood to your muscles and being afraid of infection and getting all the inflammation going. And, to multitask, which we do all day, we don't need that. Now, when we drive, does our adrenaline help us? Yes. That's how we pay attention to this and that at the same time. But that's also why sometimes we think we can read and eat and do other things when we're driving, because our adrenaline's got us all geared up to think that we're, invulnerable. But how do we turn on the other half, the parasympathetic nervous system? When we breathe out longer than we breathe in, right? When our expiration is longer than the inspiration, that is a signal to our brain that we are not under attack and we can heal and repair. Exercise, when we exercise for exercise sake, laughter, meditation, hypnosis, guided imagery, for a lot of people, creative art outlets, things like art, music, dance. But the truth is, like, all of us had said this to someone who's stressing out or to a child, take a deep breath. We were turning off the adrenaline, turning off the cortisol, helping them to calm down, helping turn on their parasympathetic nervous system. And just like as a point of thing, this is a trial, a lifestyle intervention trial in ovarian cancer that's been going on, that finished recruiting, God, I want to say at the end of 2020. So hopefully at the end of 2022, we should start getting some information about this. And, they used health coaches. They pushed for, I think it was a combination of diet, physical activity, and some stress management. And so hopefully studies like this will mean that all cancer programs will start incorporating into their care plans all the things that we really can do to support people. All right, I'm going to now stop sharing and look in the chat. Soursop tea, like, that's a tricky one. I hear that a lot from people too, but I have not seen benefits. I haven't seen any good data on benefits. Are there herbal combinations proven? Yeah, I mean, the strongest one was that one I mentioned, the black cohosh, and there are some combination with St. John's wort. But what I would do is I would go to your cancer pharmacist and see what drugs you're on, and so see what things interact. St. John's wort is very similar to Prozac. Prozac interacts with a lot of medications. So before you start an herb, you have to make sure your doctor and your pharmacist know so they can check for those interactions. Jennifer, I think that Erin had put in the links. If you go back in the chat, she put those in for me.
Yes, and Dr. Singh, one of the questions is, can we have a copy of the slides so that we can share with the women? Because a lot of that information is right in your presentation. That would be great.
Yep, I will do that. I will send you guys the PDF. I have a 1 o'clock, and so I'll probably do it at the end of the day. So
that's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful. And ladies, I definitely, we are so impressed, and we love to hear how it works with our registered dietitians philosophy and what they're sharing with our women. It's fantastic.
Yeah, everything you guys are doing today is fighting your cancer. All the people you're talking to, the fact that you're taking time to be with this wonderful group, supporting each other. It's perfect, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Singh.
Yes. And ladies, if you have additional questions, you can certainly still put them in the chat, and we can get them to Dr. Singh, and we can communicate that way. So thank you so much for being with us. It's awesome. Great. Well, great. What a way to kick off the meeting. We are very excited to have her. And next up is going to be our very own Jolene Hart. She is our beauty advisor, and I am going to spotlight her here. Let's see if I can find Jolene. There's Jolene.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Jolene. How are you?
Good. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So always wonderful to have you. And Jolene is going to speak to us about, healthy beauty tips. We all know, about we love to have makeup and we love to have our things in our house and our smell goods and everything. And Jolene is just going to give us some tips and pointers of how we can make these better choices with the products that we are choosing. So Jolene, without further ado.
Thank you. Yeah, you've all heard me speak at each Wellness Day about some of our tips and, some of the resources that Unite for Her offers. So I thought I would get a little bit into, I'm really connected to the topic of seasonal beauty and keeping my habits and my body in sync with the seasons. And when spring rolls around, this is the season when we're spring cleaning our homes, we're spring cleaning our makeup bags, and we also know that our bodies have a special focus on spring cleaning ourselves. It's called detoxification, and it happens all year long, but especially in the spring and fall. So I wanted to share some little shifts and habits that you can incorporate in the next few months to really support your body's natural detoxification for spring. So I'm going to pull up my slides as well. Let's see here. Desktop. I'm going to share this. Oops, it's asking me to open my preferences. Do you need to give me permission maybe to share slides?
You are co-host, so if you want to try that again, maybe.
Let's see. Maybe I'll close and try it again. This is so strange. I wonder why it's not giving me access.
Yeah, you do have co-host privileges, so.
Right, well, I'll just do without the slides. So what I wanted to share was Detoxing 101. What is detox? I think for most of us, detoxification has become a noun. We think of it as a cleanse, a fast, maybe a week or two where we're on a special diet. But in truth, our body is detoxing all year round. And what contributes to our need for detox? There are things like pesticides, heavy metals, pollution, some of the endocrine disrupting ingredients that we often talk about in our beauty products and our personal care. There are things like paints, furniture, clothing, even prescription medications, whether they benefit us or not. Artificial flavors, colorings, preservatives. Our body has the huge burden to get rid of all of these compounds that it doesn't need and doesn't use. Now, your body does this automatically. You do not need to do a special cleanse, a special fast, or anything else, but you can support that process because it does become slow and sometimes overburdened, especially depending on our genetics and certain genetic mutations that are outside of our control. And one of the best things that you can do, I think, to support your health wherever you are in your life and just in general to maintain your health is making sure that your detox channels are working well. So when your body is not detoxing optimally, often you will reabsorb and recycle some of those compounds that are not able to be eliminated. And this includes things like hormones that your body would normally need to release. You will reabsorb those, and that can affect your overall hormone balance and your health. So 2 stats I wanted to share with you around detox. The Environmental Working Group, which is that consumer advocacy group that does a lot of research around chemical ingredients in personal care and in food, has found that at birth, newborns already have 300 environmental toxins in their blood. So our exposure is happening even before we enter the world, happens in utero. But there is so much hope to show us that our bodies really do well at releasing many of the compounds that we don't need. So we often point to this one study that was done in California on 100 women who used conventional beauty products. And within 3 days of switching their products to organic, their bodies had released about half of the phthalates, parabens, chemical sunscreens, and triclosan that they had accumulated from their products. So we do know that although our burden is immense, our bodies are working very well and very hard for us to let go of what we don't need. So a couple of signs that detox could be beneficial to you. If you have difficulty losing weight or maintaining a healthy weight, if you find that you have skin rashes like acne or eczema, if you have elevated estrogen levels in your body, low energy, fatigue, allergies, brain fog, joint pain, cyclical breast pain or tenderness, all of these can be signs that your body could use a little extra support with detox. And there are 4 big areas that I would like to bring your attention to and that you can tune into this season to help that to happen more efficiently for you. And in general, what you do day to day is far more important than any kind of a fast, a cleanse, or a detox program. It's really all about your day-to-day habits. So the first area to focus on is supporting your channels of elimination. So you have several different ways that your body releases compounds that it doesn't need. The first one is as your liver is filtering. So your liver removes toxic compounds from your blood. It metabolizes your food. It filters waste, keeps certain compounds in balance in your body. And your liver plays a role in over 500 processes that are vital for functions in your body, including detoxification. So we want to support our liver health. And as I'll tell you about in a minute, a lot of the foods that are coming to your market this season, to the farmer's market and to your grocery store, are specifically supportive of liver health, which is really exciting for the spring. You also want to make sure that your skin is a well-functioning channel of detox. So whenever you sweat, whenever you exfoliate, if you hop in a sauna, skipping antiperspirants and making sure that those detox channels are open can be important, and also using healthy beauty products on your skin because you do absorb so much through that skin barrier. Another channel of detox that we forget about sometimes is our lungs. So we want to look at what is the quality of air that we're breathing in. Can we do some extra deep breathing, some exercise to make sure that we can release waste through that lung channel? Then there's the lymphatic system, and I'll share a little bit more about how this is so important for detox. There's a few habits that you can incorporate to make sure your lymph flow is optimal and that it's removing waste from your body. And there's also your blood, your kidneys, and your colon. So when it comes to your colon as a channel of detox, we want to make sure that your digestion is working optimally. And that means eliminating regularly, because that process of elimination in your body is where so much of the waste is excreted and released. You don't want it to be reabsorbed back in. In order to support your digestive health, you want to get a lot of good plant fiber. This season, eating some bitter foods can be really helpful to make sure that you're producing the right amount of digestive acids to make sure that you break down your food. So bitter foods can be artichokes, arugula, radicchio, endive or endive. Those are all bitter foods that will stimulate those digestive juices, and they're great to even start a meal with before you have a big meal, a holiday meal. It's nice to have those bitter foods to help your body get ready for digestion. And as Dr. Singh said, getting your body into that parasympathetic state where you're relaxed, that is where you digest optimally too. So even something like just kind of switching over and having a few moments of deep breathing, activate your senses before you sit down to eat. You might say a mantra or a prayer before you start eating your food. Just those few little moments of rest before you start eating can make the difference between good digestion and indigestion, which we've all felt before. Now, besides those channels of detox that I mentioned, there is the lymph in your body. Now, lymph is the clear waste-removing fluid that flows just under the surface of your skin. It doesn't have any pump the way that your blood has your heart as a pump. And sometimes when we don't move a lot, when we sit for long periods, when we are having a lot of air travel, so anytime you're flying on a plane, you are under stress or you have digestive issues, your lymph flow can slow down and sometimes even stagnate. Now, moving more can help your lymph to flow better. Any kind of walking or rebounding are especially helpful for lymph flow, but you can also do some gentle self-massage and some practices to help your own lymph to flow better. Two of your main lymph ducts are right here at your collarbone. So you can start just by activating those lymph ducts before you do any kind of massage or dry brushing. And I know that in the past, Unite for Her has had a special talk by Lisa Levitt Gainsley, who is one of my favorite authors on lymphatic health. And you can access that in your Unite for Her library and see a whole hour-long session on her tips for lymph flow. There's so much that you can do in this area, but two tools that I use at home are my dry brush and then a gua sha stone. So dry brush is for all over body, for moving lymph, and then a gua sha stone is for your face, for your facial lymph flow, which brings some nice tone, some circulation, and just a little more brightness to your complexion. So both of those are wonderful for lymphatic flow, as well as having some baths or even just foot baths if you can't get your whole body into the bath. And this is important at any time of the year, but especially after a period of stress, at the end of an illness, having yourself be able to take a walk to circulate your natural killer cells and move your lymph to get rid of waste and help your body with healing is such an important practice. The third way to support nutrition, support detox this season is with nutrition. And I love to kind of get into seasonal nutrition. And if you've read my book, Eat Pretty, there's a whole section on what's going on in the spring and what we can be eating and doing to stay in balance this season. This is really the season for a focus on liver and gallbladder health. It's nature's time to cleanse. This season, you see a lot of green foods. And actually, if you notice, there's not a lot of sweet foods that are naturally coming to market and in our area this season. There's kind of some strawberries, but there's not a lot of fruit that is in season in the spring where we are. And it's a little bit more of a spare time for nature and for the body. And that's part of that natural cleansing action. So we do see this season lots of abundant greens, microgreens, asparagus, artichokes, and both of those, both asparagus and artichokes, have specific phytochemicals that support liver detox and detox processes in the body. We have sprouts, especially, growing your own is something you can do in your kitchen. Lemons and limes are wonderful for detox. Arugula, spinach, dandelion greens, garlic, radish, and watercress are some of my favorites. And, go with what's in season at this time of year. And as you bring in more of those green chlorophyll rich foods, you naturally support your detox channels and help with your liver health as well. You can also add a little extra fiber and make sure you're getting plenty of water, and those are both going to help with your body's elimination as well. And then finally, check out your toxin exposures. Look at where your primary toxin exposures are each day. Look at your water quality, your food. And I was going to show you a slide of the 2022 Dirty Dozen clean and dirty produce lists, which came out last week. So you can access that at ewg.org and check out what the clean and dirty lists are for this year. But essentially, you want to try to be buying those top pesticide sprayed foods organic as often as possible to limit your daily toxin exposures through your food. You also want to look at your air quality and find out if you want to, be able to invest in a filter for indoor air if you need to, which can help allergies. Look at your cleaning product exposures, any kind of environmental exposures from furniture or paint, any other man-made materials, and then also your personal care. And I shared this week that there's a new documentary series if you do have HBO Max. It's called Not So Pretty. It's a 4-part documentary series on toxins in the personal care industry. And it definitely goes further than we have gone at Unite for Her to share some of the specific cases where there have been, proven toxins in different areas of the personal care industry. So if you're interested in learning more about that and considering more about your personal care routine and maybe doing a little spring cleaning this season, that's a great resource. And I was going to finish just with top 10 list of simple things that you can do right now to support detox. After you finish Shine today, you can take these ideas away and just tune up your own detox processes a bit more this season. The first is start that habit of drinking warm lemon water in the morning. So when you wake up, your body has been without hydration for at least 8 hours, and water is so important for those detox processes in your body as well as your brain function. So start that morning lemon water habit even before you have breakfast or caffeine or whatever else is in your routine. I love the habit of growing your own sprouts this season. So on my website, joleneHart.com, there is a tutorial for how to grow your own sprouts. The easiest way is using a hemp sprouting bag, which is so low maintenance. You will find it so easy, and you'll have fresh sprouts in 3 days. And they are some of the most nutritiously dense, readily available to digest nutrition for your body. So definitely consider that if you haven't done that this season. Do more fresh garlic in your foods. Make a homemade dressing with fresh garlic this weekend. Get that allicin phytochemical from garlic, which really supports your body's detox. Try roasting and eating more beets, which are wonderful for moving lymph in your body, and they're very supportive of liver detox. You can sip some of those detoxifying teas this season. Milk thistle, nettle, dandelion root are all wonderful for the body. Try sweating in a sauna or doing a little bit more exercise if that's something that you can achieve this season. Incorporating some prebiotics and probiotics to really support your digestive health. And the better you digest and eliminate, the better that your body will naturally detox. Adding more plant fiber to your daily diet. And if you're a client of mine, I always challenge you to eat greens at every single meal, or at least multiple times daily. They're so good for your detox. And download and print that Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 list from the Environmental Working Group, which is available and updated for 2022. And buy the Dirtiest Produce Organic. And then check your beauty products. Can you make your top 5 products natural or organic, and make sure what goes over the biggest surface area of your body is something that you really want to be penetrating and sinking into your body as well. So just a little inspiration for really getting those detox channels going this season and keeping your body in sync with what's happening in nature as we spring clean and get ready for another year.
That's wonderful. Such great information, Jolene. And my apologies are to whatever technological issues that we had, but we tried to capture. But again, if you want to share your slides, some of those, the top 10 I put in the text chat, but it's such great information, and we love that you do this like seasonally so that we can always be in tune with what nature is doing.
Thank you so much for live chatting the top 10. That was so kind of you.
You're more than welcome. Want to get that information out for sure. We did have a few questions. What is the name of the facial stone?
It's called a gua sha stone, and gua sha is an ancient practice. It comes from Asia. It's not anything modern. And these stones come in many different shapes and forms. They're usually jade or some sort of polished stone. You'll find them sold by many cosmetic companies. This one I bought on Amazon. But essentially, there are gua sha stones that you can use over your entire body. These smaller stones are used for your face. And they're very helpful because as you can move kind of fluid and lymph around your face, you can achieve better facial tone, but also bring circulation and nutrients and blood to your skin, which gives you a glow that you don't get if you're not having that circulation as well. So this is great if you have skin puffiness, or if you just want to especially support down here your lymph channels on your neck, which help to drain here to your lymph nodes.
Great. We do have another question. It's saying, asking about healthy laundry detergent. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Yeah. So, the one thing that sticks out the most with laundry detergent is fragrance. And unfortunately, most fragrance that are in even detergents are going to be synthetic fragrances. And those do contain phthalates, which are some of the top ingredients we recommend avoiding because they are endocrine disrupting ingredients. So, different brands have different scents. I try to look for something that isn't as scented. There is a company called Branch Basics that I like for cleaning products and for laundry detergent. You can find even something at Target like 7th Generation that has some naturally fragranced products or unscented products. But in general, that's the big thing to avoid is the fragrance, especially even as you do fabric softeners and dryer sheets and things like that. There are so many fragrances involved in laundry. So it's kind of getting away from some of that, I think, is the biggest step that you can take to lower your toxic exposures.
Okay, wonderful. And the last question was about your book, Eat Pretty, and was wondering how one can obtain a copy.
Oh, you can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and several other stores. I believe Target still has it. So if you search online, you'll find some places to buy and whatever one you like best. You can also go to my site, jolenehart.com, and find information on all the books and just read a little bit more about them and see pictures inside to get to know some of them if you're curious about what's inside.
Wonderful. Well, Jolene, thank you so much for being here with us today. Such great information as always. And you're right, Catherine. And she says, excellent book. Yes, they are. So, you would have received Ignite Your Light or Eat Pretty in your care box, so one of the other. So certainly you could head over to her website and take a look about all the other information that she has there and, maybe supplement what you don't have any already. So that was wonderful. Thank you so very much for being with us today.
So nice to be a part. What a wonderful program, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. You as well. Great. I'm so excited. Such great information that everyone is receiving today. And we thank you for being here with us. And as I am going to move right along, I am going to, I'm going to remove the spotlight from Jolene, and then I'm going to bring in our next speaker. And so our next topic is called Relax with Ray. So as I go to Ray, this is Ray Watley, and she's one of our providers on our provider list. Hi, Ray. You are muted. Thank you for being with us today. There you go. Wonderful. We are very excited to have Ray. Ray is a provider for Reiki. And, again, one on our provider list, and she is just so wonderful in helping so many women and understanding what Reiki is and the benefits of it. So Ray, I'm going to let you share what you have to share today.
Okay, I want to give a little caveat first. I thought I would be someplace I could plug in, and I'm not, and I've got 25%, so hopefully it's enough to get us through if I suddenly disappear. My apologies in advance.
You look like you're outside. Are you? It looks a little sunny.
I am outside. I pulled off the road into a park so I could do.
Oh, well, please be careful, but enjoy the outside. Take it away, Ray.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ray Watley. I am a native of Philadelphia, and I have been doing Reiki for, probably almost 25 years. I started as a massage therapist, and that, of course, led to learning numerous other modalities. And I so appreciated the talk that came before me. Those are lots of things that I love to talk about with my clients. They're so important to helping you feel better, and Reiki can also help you on that journey. Mm-hmm. For those of you who are not familiar, Reiki is a Japanese energy healing treatment that basically translates to universal energy. So using Reiki is using energy that's around us all the time. It's present in every living thing. And as a Reiki practitioner, I'm able to channel or move that energy through me and direct it into whoever I'm working with. Some of the things that energy can do are help you to relax. Oh, there's my little low power note. It helps with relaxation. It can help reduce pain. It can help reduce nausea. It helps with detoxification. And I'll go into all of these in a little more detail. The Japanese word Reiki, the second Japanese character is ki. This is the word that means energy. And a lot of you are probably already familiar with this. If you've ever heard of Qigong or Tai Chi, that Qi from Chinese is the same as the ki in Japanese. It comes from the same character. This has the same basis. Reiki as spiritual energy is a spiritual practice, but it is not a religion. So it doesn't go against any tenets or religious beliefs or doctrines that you might hold. So you don't have to worry about any conflict in that regard. Some people think that Reiki is a moving of spirits. And it's much more basic, and it's much more broad. Like I said, it's this energy that flows through all of us, and not a specific entity that's coming to you for whatever purpose. There are no side effects with Reiki. There is no downside. There's no pressure involved. There's no pain involved. So no matter where you are, in terms of how you're feeling, how your body is doing, whether or not you've had surgery or whatever kind of treatment you might be undergoing or might have previously undergone, there are no contraindications. Reiki works wonderfully with everything. So the focus of Reiki really is to help balance your mind, body, and spirit, really put them in a good place. So when we talk about your spirit, how are you feeling day to day? You know, are you upbeat? Are you depressed? Reiki is wonderful when you're feeling down to just kind of lift you out of that, give you a more positive outlook, help you sleep better, so you feel better. And it really is all cyclical, right? If you feel better, then everything looks a little better. You can think more clearly, etc. For your body, like I said, Reiki is wonderful at relaxing. So if you're in pain or you're experiencing headaches or you're not able to sleep, helping your body to relax, helping to deal with the stress hormones that are coursing through your body, helping to bring everything back to center. Reiki helps to calm everything down. I like to describe it as the hamster on the proverbial wheel, right? It's running, 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 running. During a Reiki session, that hamster is free to hop off that wheel, go for a cup of coffee or even better, green tea. And this lets you calm down. It helps the mind stop racing. It helps the chit chat to stop. It gives you a moment in time to just be. By quieting all those things down and allowing your body to just be and your mind to be quiet, your body is able to hit a reset button. Everything calming down means that your parasympathetic system, your defenses, your immune system, everything that's just been kind of running high octane gets the chance to stop. Doing all of these things allows Reiki to give your immune system a much needed boost. It allows your immune system to say, okay, I don't have to work quite so hard. Let me see what I need to focus on. Let me reset, let me recalibrate, let me come back even better. Your body is an amazing machine. There are so many things that our body knows how to do for us, right? If you're not feeling well, if you have a headache, if you're overly tired, if you just can't deal, your body wants to shut down. It says, take a nap. That's your reset cue. And during a Reiki session, most people do go to sleep. It's fabulous. I never want people to apologize. You know, I think I fell asleep. Was I snoring? Your snoring means that your body says, let's go, right? We're letting go right now. And it's a fabulous response. One of the other things that Reiki can do, as our previous presenter was talking about, detoxification. We hear so much about it, so much about what things are bad for us, what's in the environment, what's in our house, what's in our food. So many of these things we have no control over. One of the things that Reiki does is help your body to detoxify. So how does it do that? A lot of the toxins that have come into our body serve no purpose. So, for example, if you've gone through chemotherapy, those medications did their job. Fantastic. And now what? Right? Some of those things are left behind. They've done their work. They don't need to stay with you. Your body has sequestered them either in your fat cells or in your bone, just someplace to stash it away where it won't do you any harm. Reiki goes into your body, and like a pebble tossed into a stream, it disturbs that stuff that's resting at the bottom. So picture this stream, it's babbling along, it looks clear, it looks beautiful. You throw that stone in, or you step in, or you swish it with your hand, and all of that silt and dirt comes up, and now the water's cloudy. But then what happens? The water's still flowing, right? So some of that gets washed away. Now imagine that that stream is your lymph system and your circulatory system. So once Reiki has pulled some of those toxins from your tissues, from your muscle, from your bones, into your lymph, into your bloodstream, it can get pulled along to your liver, to your kidneys, your detoxification organs, so that they can process it and move it out. Getting rid of those toxins will help your body to feel better, because it doesn't have to spend time, where am I going to put this? Where am I going to stash this? How am I going to keep this from doing you harm? Getting them out gives your body space to do the things it's supposed to do. What does a Reiki session look like? If you've had a massage, you're familiar with the massage table. During a Reiki session, you can lie down. Some people aren't comfortable lying down, and that's perfectly okay. One of the beautiful things about Reiki is that it can be done wherever you are and in whatever position is comfortable. It can be done in person, or it can be done over distances, which is fabulous. And during these last 2 years, I have done the majority of my work with clients over distance. Is it as effective as in-person Reiki? Not 100%, but let's give it 90%. There's not one person that I've done Reiki on over long distance that has not reported feeling more relaxed. Sometimes they feel heat. Sometimes they're able to tell me exactly what parts of the body I've been working on. So whether you're in person or we're doing a long distance session, you would recline in whatever position is most comfortable for you. And then the Reiki practitioner will go through a series of hand placements, most often starting at the head. There's no pressure, remember? So the hands are placed very gently on the head, and then every few moments, or listening to what the body is saying. That's how we decide we're going to move to the next area. If you're having headaches, we'll spend more time on your head. If you're having digestive issues, we'll spend more time over your digestive tract. If you're dealing with anxiety, we'll spend time over your head and your heart. If you have pain in a specific location, or especially if you're still dealing with pain, or if you've had surgery, or whatever is going on with the part of your body where your cancer is. So for ovarian cancer, I spend a lot of time over that part of your body, right? The lower abdomen. Doing this helps to bring more blood flow. It helps to flush out the toxins. It helps everything to relax. And so bringing down your stress level, bringing down your blood pressure, it can often even raise your core body temperature. So many people going through treatment are cold all of the time. Their extremities are cold. They just can't get comfortable. So repetitive Reiki sessions can help to raise that core body temperature just enough to make you feel more comfortable. And certainly during a Reiki session, a lot of times people also report feeling heat or warmth. It should never be a sharp burning sensation. Usually it's a really gentle, comfortable, there goes my thing again, comfortable enveloping sensation. A lot of the Reiki points that we work on or that we cover with our hands during a Reiki treatment correspond to major organs in your body, and also correspond to a lot of the acupuncture points in Chinese medicine. So this is something that I found out after I'd been doing Reiki for years, and it does so much to help explain how and why Reiki works, right? Instead of putting a needle into those acupuncture points, we're sending energy into those points, helping to release stuck energy, helping to balance your body's energy, helping to revitalize your life force. Reiki, as I said at the beginning, and I apologize for the kids in the playground who are my grandchildren. Reiki, when it's mind, body, spirit, kind of focus is all about balancing all three of those things, really helping to put the body back into harmony. As I mentioned, not only does it help with pain, it can help with nausea, it can help with sleeplessness, it can help with depression and anxiety. It helps wounds to heal more quickly. And part of the way that it does that is by giving your immune system that boost and by bringing extra blood flow to the area, helping to carry away those toxins and just support the body's natural healing practices. In a distance session, you would basically be doing the same thing as in a person session. You just want to lie down or sit in a recliner and be comfortable. When I'm doing a distance session, I will get in touch with the person at the very beginning of the appointment and we talk. How are you feeling today? What's bothering you today? Are you in pain? Are you nauseous? Is there a specific area you want me to focus on? A lot of times if someone is facing surgery or they have a scan coming up or a test that's going to let them know kind of where they are in their journey, there's a lot of anxiety around that. And a lot of clients have said having that Reiki session really lowers their anxiety. So they're not, feeling like, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? They're ready for whatever comes. And lowering that anxiety and being in that place of, I can deal with it, we're okay, is so much easier on you, on your caregivers. Caregivers are wonderful people also to learn Reiki so that they can give Reiki to you and support you, when you're at home. It's not always necessary or possible to see a Reiki person like every day. You can't see one every day, but if someone in your life learns Reiki and they can learn Reiki in a weekend, then they're able to sit with hands on you while you're watching TV or while you're falling asleep or, while you're waiting for your doctor's appointment or for whatever test. Having that gentle, calming energy available and accessible is such an amazing thing. This is why I have done Reiki for as long as I have. I use it with my family, my friends. It's hard for me to pass someone who's having an issue and not want to just put my hands on them, because the power of Reiki and its gentle ability to support the body and support the mind, support the spirit, and just make you feel better, make you feel more grounded, make you feel more positive, it's priceless. It's priceless. Some people have distance Reiki done, for example, when they're having an MRI or when they are in surgery or when they are in recovery. And the wonderful thing about being able to do Reiki over distance is to be able to access this energy without having the practitioner right next to you, being able to put hands on. There are a few Reiki providers who have been cleared to work in surgical suites. Even though they're in the same room, they send Reiki from across the room. They don't actually have hands-on during the surgery. But people who have Reiki during these procedures or shortly after report that their healing times are much faster. They don't need as much pain medication. They are feeling better. They don't have as many reactions to the anesthesia, for example. Anesthesia is one of those things that it's great while you're in surgery, but once you're out, you don't need it anymore. And being able to clear it from your body, having Reiki over, again, your detoxification organs, your kidneys, your liver, digestive tract, being able to move it out means that you are able to be clearer, to come back to yourself more quickly, and having less pain and needing less pain medication, healing a little more quickly. No matter what's happening, Reiki can support you in moving forward. A lot of people talk about, they ask, how can Reiki possibly work over distance? I don't know. I wish I could explain it, and I can't. But as I mentioned, it certainly does work. And I lost my train of thought for a second. Even though we can't explain how it works, having people report again and again and again how calm they feel, how relaxed they feel, how much more comfortable they feel, how much better they're sleeping. These are all the things that show me that whatever Reiki is doing in your body, it's working. I have used it myself for severe cuts, for burns, for stinging nettles on a hiking trip, and I have experienced immediate relief. When I stopped doing Reiki, the discomfort, the pain, it would come back. But the longer I did Reiki, the less discomfort I would feel. I have used it for people who have just had surgery, and they also report feeling better, recovering more quickly, not needing to take all of the pain medication that was prescribed to them. Anything that we can do to support you on your journey and to help you be healthier, to help detox you. And part of detoxification is reducing exposure, right? So reducing your pain, taking fewer pain medications, having less that your body needs to move out. I'm sure that there are lots of things that I left out, but I hope that this was helpful. And if there are any questions, I wasn't able to follow the chat, but if there are questions there, I'm happy to answer them.
Right, this was great. And Jennifer, I believe it is, as I'm looking in the chat, says what I often say and what we often say about you is that your voice and your aura is so calming. She said that she, could just even feel it during this presentation. And we appreciate that. And that's part of, the whole experience, like you said, and that's why it does work with distance. You don't have to be right there in person. So that is wonderful. And Jennifer, like I said, we feel the same way when every time we hear Ray present, we are fortunate to feel the very, very same way. Yes. I don't see any questions in the chat. If there's any questions, let me know. Dawn has a comment. I had a few sessions with a Reiki master already, and I will continue to do so. I can validate everything Ray eloquently is sharing with us. It's calming and a hug of relief. Thank you so much, Ray.
Oh, Dawn, you put that so well. It is like a calming hug of relief. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Yes, ladies, and I did put Ray's information in the chat, just in case you do want to contact her. Her information is there for you. And Ray, thank you as always for being with us. We do enjoy it. And again, everything that you said worked right in line, very, cohesive with our other presenters today. And just love that everything just works so totally beautifully and organically together.
And if anyone has, just wants to talk about how Reiki might help you, you can go, and I don't know if I'm in the provider list. My email is there. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to get on the phone and talk with anyone if they have questions.
Wonderful. Yes, I did put that information in there from the provider list.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much. Wonderful. All right. So ladies, what I'm going to do now is I am going to give you about a 5-minute break in case you need to use the restroom or grab some water. And then we're going to have 2 more speakers after that. We're going to have our Dr. Friedman, who talks about sexual health, and we're going to have a cooking demonstration with Erin Pellegrin, who is our senior registered dietitian. So I am going to, my clock says 1:45, which is perfect timing. So if you can come back at 1:50, we'll get started right away. Okay. See you shortly. Dr. Sabitha? You're muted.
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. How are you?
I am doing very well.
Good. Like I said, I'm just going to give a small little break just in case anybody needs to run to the restroom, and we'll start, promptly at 1:50 for you.
That's totally fine. I just want to make sure that I can share my screen.
So yes, let me give you, make you co-host. We've been having a little bit of difficulty. So even if you want to try it while we have a few moments. Okay.
Can you see what I'm sharing right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. That's all I need.
Okay, wonderful. Great.
Okay. Stop share and I'll just share.
That looks beautiful.
Melanie, I have, Melissa, sorry, I'm calling you
It's
Melanie.
okay. It's okay.
So sorry. I have a resource list, updated resource list. I can put that in the chat for everybody. Is that okay?
That is perfect. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just do that right now because I have the PDF.
That would be wonderful. I'm just looking here. Let's see. Do you have, are you connected twice?
Am I corrected twice? Oh, I'll change that.
Just so that there's, you know what, then maybe.
Okay, that's, I'll go out maybe and come back in.
Make sure I don't have any feedback.
Yeah. I don't know why this is not.
I don't hear any right now, so we may be fine.
Oh, I don't know why. Okay, I'll just go out and come back just in case.
Okay.
Okay, leave.
Melissa, can you just can you spotlight me real quick? I just want to check my camera view.
Absolutely.
Hold on, let me go. Oh, wait, you know what I do need to do? Hold on, stand by. Okay, let me see. Eek. Do I look straight? Do I look crooked? You can see
I
everything?
can't see you. I just see your screensaver.
Okay. Did you spotlight the wrong person? The wrong Aaron,
Oh, did I get the wrong Aaron?
perhaps?
Oh, you were there. No, you're there. You're there now.
Okay.
But I only see you on the side. Like I don't see you in front of the camera.
Right. But is my I just want to know if I'm crooked.
Oh,
If I'm-
yes, absolutely. Yes. No, you're good.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. We have a minute more and then we should be good to go. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone is starting to come back. And as soon as Dr. Friedman comes back on, can you hear me? Are you available there? Dr. Sabitha? Okay, here she is coming in now. Okay, so Dr. Sabitha, I am going to spotlight you here. And then I'm going to give you permissions here to share your screen.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So wonderful, ladies. So we are all back. And next on our agenda for today, we have Dr. Sabitha with us today, and she is going to discuss sexual health. And, you know, this sometimes may be a topic that you may not want to openly discuss, but it's always great. And it's always a great way to get the information. She provides great resources, and it's also a way to engage when, you know, so that if you have particular questions, she's here for you. We love hearing from you, and we're so excited to hear what you have to share with us today. So the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. I have done these talks to many different groups of cancer survivors and thrivers. And I would like to first give you some information because, you know, we have all not been given a lot of sex education, right? So in any stage of our life, we have not. There's so much secrecy that surrounds sexual information. So I want to give you a little bit of information, and then I'll open the floor to questions. I also have a great resource list that I would like to share with you. So you can use it to buy products, to read books. So I'm glad to share all of that. And you can also email me, or, you know, and so you can clarify any doubts you have in your mind. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so
That's great. We can see your screen.
you can see my screen. Wonderful. So sexual wellness during and after treatment. So most of the times when we are going through treatment, we do not want to think about sexuality because we're so busy doing all the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves and to move forward with our treatment. But sometimes it may come up even during treatment and after treatment. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what sexual wellness means for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some questions. I'm going to constantly go between sharing screen and then bringing all of you in because I don't want to feel disconnected, because these are questions I would like you to think about and discuss with me. So what purpose does sex serve in our lives, right? I mean, we all have to ask ourselves, is this an important thing for me? And what was sex like before your treatment and your diagnosis and treatment? What is sex like now? What are some challenges you're facing? I'm going to stop share so we can look at each other and you can, is it okay to do it this way? Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
So you can put in chat some of your thoughts about this. You know, what was sex like before? What is sex like now? And what are some of the challenges you're facing? Okay, so one of our participants is saying, now not interested. Yes, sexual desire can sometimes, decrease considerably after treatment, cancer treatment. Worried about other things. Yes, this may seem like something you don't want to pay attention to because you're worried about all the other things that you have to worry about. What else? I feel so different about my body. This is a very common comment that I hear from people, that I feel very different about my body. Before my diagnosis, sex was fine. Now I have no desires. What was sex like before? Yes. Oh, thank you for copying and pasting that. So that is true. You know, before diagnosis, you feel like, because sex just feels almost natural sometimes, but then after treatment, our bodies changed. So how does sex feel after? thank you for all of these comments. And I'm going to continue with the presentation, and we will hear more about it. So I work with a lot of cancer survivors in my sexual health practice. And some of the comments, most common symptoms post-cancer treatment are pain and numbness because of surgery, loss of sexual sensation. And very often people complain about scars, body image issues. Low desire is one of the most common complaints because of all the hormonal changes, because of the bodily changes. Most people tell me that they do not recognize their body anymore. They do not feel like this is the body they had before. So it's very hard to feel sexual. And radiation can cause scarring, burns, numbness, and extreme fatigue. And chemo can also cause vaginal dryness. So sometimes when there's vaginal dryness, there could be pain with intercourse, hair loss, weight gain, body image issues. So even though these are all common sexual side effects, I don't want you to think that there's no way out of it. I am going to tell you all these different ways in which you can reclaim your sexuality. So I want you to think about this more as a detour in your sexual journey, but this could be a fun exploration. Some of the people I work with tell me that they have found new ways to be sexual that make sex even more fun and enjoyable. So you can do that too. So it's very important for you to think of a sexual health team. So a sexual health team would be, there are sexual pain specialists, and there are GYNs who understand sexual pain, internal medicine doctors, and your oncologists as well. You know, tell them that you're experiencing pain. It's very important for them to know. Sometimes women normalize pain. So they think that this is the way sex will always be, and this is the way it's going to be. I'm going to grin and bear it. You don't have to. There are treatments for it. So first of all, speak to your healthcare providers about your sexual concerns. And pelvic floor therapists, I don't know if you all know about this, pelvic floor therapists can really help you with your sexual functioning because they really work with the pelvic floor with exercises. And a lot of people don't know that the specialty even exists. This is a really good way to get your vaginal walls massaged and, you know, relaxed, so you can be sexual without pain or tightness. I would also recommend consulting acupuncture providers, massage therapists, all of which are services that Unite for Her facilitates. And there are sexual educators, counselors, or therapists, and these are also people who can help you enhance your sexuality by learning about your body, learning about new ways to be sexual. So I have in my resource list given you the agency, the organization called ASECT that has contact information for sex educators, counselors, and therapists. So I always think we should have a toolbox for our sexual wellness. So what should be in our toolbox? I think it's really important to learn first about sexual health after cancer, because it's you have to have different skills. Your body has changed in different ways, but you can still be sexual, but you need to know how to overcome some of the sexual changes that your body has undergone. And it's very important to go shopping and find sexual health products. And I have listed many of these products in my resource list. And I urge you to just, even if you don't want to buy it, go to the websites. These are all curated websites I don't get any kickbacks, but these are people I know, and I know that you will not be spammed when you go to these websites, and you can order products that can increase your sexual well-being. Now, the image that you're seeing here is, these are called graded dilators. The graded dilators can help you massage your vaginal walls and relax your vaginal walls so you can enjoy penetrative sex without pain. That's the image of the vaginal walls. And it's very important for you to learn about your own body and sexual communication. Like, how do I talk about sex with my partner? These are things it's very important for you to learn, because the more you talk about what works, what doesn't work, the more you're going to enjoy sex.
I really couldn't say.
Oh, my Siri is talking. Okay, let me see if I can put my resource list in my. If you'll give me a minute, I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to stop share for 1 second so I can find my resource list, and I will put it in my. I'm having a hard time moving it. Resource list. I'm not able to share it. So I'm going to just email it to you, Melissa. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Yes, absolutely. Email it to me and then I will do that.
Yes, because I'm having a hard time and I would like to finish the presentation. And
absolutely, no problem.
Yes, I can email it to you and then you can just like send it to everybody. So let's share screen again. So what are some of the resources? There are some products that you can use for sexual enhancement. It is very important to think about ordering your vaginal dilators. This can really help with dilation, and it's very important to work with a physical therapist, a pelvic floor therapist, and you use the dilators in conjunction with that treatment. And a lot of people do not understand the value of lubricants and moisturizers. These are very, very important for people of all ages. So, it's very important to moisturize your vaginal walls on a regular basis. So these are different from lubricants. Moisturizers are like moisturizers we use on the rest of our body. You use it on a regular basis to keep the vaginal walls supple. And the lubricants are used during sexual activity. That's the difference between the two. There are many brands. It's very important to find lubricants and moisturizers that do not have parabens, because parabens are not indicated for cancer survivors because it can actually be carcinogenic. So when you look at moisturizers and lubricants, make sure it doesn't have any parabens, and it also doesn't have anything warming, cooling. All of these things are not good for us because it may have menthol and it may really irritate your sensitive genitalia. I highly recommend, in order to really kind of, desire is in your brain. Your brain is your biggest sex organ. And you need to really turn your brain on. And in order to turn your brain on, you will have to read erotic books or movies, things that you used to read before that used to get your mind trained for sexual activity. So you don't have to necessarily always think about partnered sex. You can also think about, solo sex, masturbation as a way to get used to your body and how it feels. There are vibrators and other sex toys. And again, it's all in the resource list, websites to go and check out. And some of these websites, you can actually go speak to the customer service people and tell them you're a first-time user of vibrators. What kind of a vibrator should you be buying? Supportive pillows. There's a company called liberators.com, and it's in your resource list. Can be useful to support your body during sexual activity. So if you see here, this is called ONUT. So it's a stack of wearable rings that can be used on the penis, so the penetration is not deep. So this can be useful to have intercourse when you're experiencing pain. So this is a company called ONUT, and I've also given you the link to it, so you can purchase that. So one of the other things, is coconut oil a good product? No, I would suggest not to use coconut oil, very, very specifically, because oils can trap bacteria in your vaginal walls. So coconut oil is not indicated. I would suggest using water-based moisturizers and lubricants, okay? Did you hear me? I really do not want you to use coconut oil. Because with any infections, then you do not want your genitalia, your vaginal walls are very delicate and very sensitive right now. You do not want to use something that would cause an infection, because that would be hard to treat. Okay. So when we just think about sex as intercourse, then it may just make it very hard for us to become sexual. I think you need to start thinking about sex as a broad, enjoyable thing that you can do all kinds of things as part of sex, like hugging, sensual caress, massage, cuddling, kissing, masturbation, oral and manual stimulation, use of vibrators. All of these should be considered sex, because then it puts less pressure on you to rev yourself up and to go and engage in intercourse that may feel like it is too, your body is not ready yet. So do what your body is ready for. So speak to your partner. I'm not ready for this, but I'm ready for this. I'm not ready for intercourse, but I'm ready for hugging and caressing, some light petting or heavy petting. I'm not into. I don't want to go any further than that. That sort of communication is very important. I'm looking at the chat as well. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, the resource list is now attached in the chat, and I will send it still out afterwards in an email.
Yes, I appreciate that, Melissa, really. Thank you. So sometimes people ask me, will talking to my partner about sex ruin the moment? This is the biggest myth, and this myth can actually interfere with your sexual connection with your partner, because you may think you cannot tell anything to your partner. I don't feel good. I don't like the way you're touching me. This hurts. You should be able to say to your partner what sex feels like. So, and you should also say goodbye to the myth of spontaneity. We are all, unfortunately, influenced by Hollywood, where people just like get into these mad, passionate moments without any discussion. That is not going to happen in real life. So spontaneous sex never happens. Planned sex, planned spontaneity, as I would say, would probably be a good idea. So instead of waiting for the spontaneous moment, you schedule a time, and then you can be spontaneous about it, about being sexual. You should definitely share your turn-ons and turn-offs. Talk to your partner about, okay, when you do this, I feel good. When you do this, I feel like my body turns off. I really want you to know that. So that is really important. Sometimes people are in relationships for 25 years and more, and still don't tell them about what turns them on and what turns them on. So this is very important. So what are you in a mood for today? That's sort of a communication, because there should never be an assumption, okay, if you're going to be sexual, it's going to be intercourse and orgasm and done. No, we can all talk about all the other things that we can do. What are you in a mood for today? It's very important to introduce play and humor. Sex doesn't have to be serious. It can be playful and fun, and it can be what you want it to be. So try a different time to be sexual. Remember, sex is not just intercourse. Sex can be like a buffet. Use lubricants for comfort. Use pillows for support. Use a vibrator as needed. Share sexual fantasies. Take breaks as needed. Talk about what works and what is not working. Use humor and be playful. So I am going to stop and ask you if you have any questions. I'd like to, can we do gallery view so I can see everybody? Good.
Yes, let me get that.
Yeah, I can see everybody now. So folks, yes, please, you know, if you have any questions, please ask me. First of all, what did it feel like to talk about sex? Well, I was doing all the talking and you were doing all the listening, but what did it feel like?
You know,
Well, it's interesting because it's just Katie, I'm sorry. It's interesting because I haven't thought about it. Right. Like, it's just, I really haven't. It's just been, you were consumed with so many other things.
Yes.
So it's even, I don't know. It's interesting to think about in some ways because you haven't. You've been just fighting, trying to keep yourself sorted and put together.
Okay. Well, that's a very good point, Kathy. And I think, Catherine, I wonder if you also want to think about sex as something that can bring you some relief. And sex is supposed to, you know, I'm not talking just about partnered sex. I'm talking about masturbation too. Can relieve pain and can relax you and can help you sleep. So even if you do not want to have partnered sex right now, you can think about solo sex. So I highly recommend that. But thank you for being honest about it. Any other questions, folks? Is there something on the Jennifer? Okay. Did you get any ideas?
Katie was just saying again, it's such an important topic, and it is. And you know, like I started to say, I've been on many of our speaking with Dr. Sabitha, and sometimes it is maybe a little uncomfortable to start that conversation, but the information that she has is so great. And it's just, you know, the resources that she provides is here for you. Just like we talk about acupuncture, we talk about, you know, Reiki, we have the different providers come on. This is a benefit for you. This is, you know, a way to relieve your stress. This is a way to make you feel better during this time. And sometimes, and Dr. Sabitha, I remember being on one with you and you were saying, like, some of it even stems from our childhood. Like maybe we weren't really allowed to talk about sex and, you know, things like that, and, or our religion, or, you know, things like that. So it all comes into play. But, you know, it's so very interesting because it is a part of us. Obviously it is a part of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, and it really helps with bonding in relationships too. So, you know, when you are going through treatment and your partner is supporting you, this is also a way to reconnect. So you may have to think about a different way to connect, not, you know, going from, you know, directly going to intercourse, but there are so many ways you can ready your body. You can make yourself feel sexual. And then be with your partner and offer different ways to be sexual, right?
Yeah, Jennifer mentioned that she wasn't sure that she didn't realize that it could relieve pain.
Yes, there are studies that show that orgasms relieve pain and reduce pain. So, I work with a lot of people with chronic fatigue syndrome and chronic pain. And so this is a, study I read about where, masturbation and orgasm actually relieves pain. So and then it also increases your immunity. In these COVID times, we have to increase our immunity.
Well, that's a fun way to increase our immunity now, isn't that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. Ladies, so, it's real. It's real.
Yes, yeah, it's real. And, it's a fun topic. And I want you to kind of go through the resource list. And, not everything is for everybody. Okay. I have given a range of resources. You may love some, you may not like some. Read what you want, leave the rest. But there are books I've given on erotica, on fantasy books, on sexual health books. I've also given you all the resources for buying products. There's a curated list, the list that I know and I put together based on people I know who are running ethical practices. So.
Well, good. And the last thing Jennifer says, I think feeling sexual before being intimate is where I run into issue. My brain takes over. And that happens so often, right? We overthink.
Yes, yes. The nice thing about being sexual with ourselves first, the solo sex, the masturbation for ourselves, is that we don't have to suffer from what's called performance anxiety. We don't need to please anybody else but ourselves. So if we begin the process and we are tired, we can go to sleep. It doesn't matter. But so that may be a really good way to begin. That may be the baby step that everybody needs before they go on to partnered sex.
Great. Great advice. And again, the resource list, it is very valuable. And I put it in the chat for you. I will send it out after the call too, but take a look at it. And like she said, take what's good for you. Maybe not all of it. Take the pieces that are going to benefit you. Yes. Dr. Sabitha, thank you so much for being here with us today. We so appreciate your information.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, ladies, we have one more portion. Yes. And that was great. And I'm just going to continue to say, again, sometimes that's a hard topic to just even bring up to start to talk about it, but it is, we are women and, we do need to be receptive for this. So thank you for being here with us. And we are going to move to our last portion of the day, which is with our senior registered dietitian, Erin. And I am going to add her on our spotlight here.
Ooh.
And there she is.
Hi.
Hi.
I love a Friday afternoon when we talk about sexual health and then we move right into food. I feel like that is a recipe for a really great weekend. I'm just going to put that out there. That's what we're doing.
Well, and then your shirt is so appropriate. Kiss the cook,
Isn't that nice? Right. I'm bringing a little jazz into my Friday afternoon. So I love it. I love it. Yeah. So today we are, we just came off of Easter if you celebrate Easter. So we've got like eggs galore in our house, hard boiled, regular eggs. And I thought, let's have fun with eggs because they offer a ton of nutritional benefit. They're a really versatile and easy thing to whip up in the kitchen. If you are dealing with some GI distress as a result of surgery or your chemo, they tend to be tolerated really well. We can fit some of those cooked veggies in as well, which also cooking those veggies, softening that fiber, we know eases with digestion. So there's so many benefits to it. So I'm going to go through 2 quick egg recipes that I love, that my family loves. And the second recipe is this really fun, actually, TikTok trend that I've been wanting to try anyway. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But the first recipe that we will be making is a super simple egg frittata. So they're mini egg muffins. I will be using my silicone muffin pan. You could use a regular muffin pan. I'm just going to heat my pan while I'm chatting here. You could use like a traditional muffin pan, but I find the egg really does stick to the side quite a bit. I was like ruining my egg muffins. So I just invested on Amazon or Target or Walmart. I got a silicone muffin pan because you don't have to grease them. They pop out beautifully. So that's what I like using anytime I am making this dish. Mini egg muffins are also a really great way to use up veggies that are like on their way out the door in your refrigerator, because all you do is throw them in the pan, give them a quick cook, and then in the oven they go. So that's what we're going to start with today. So I do have my oven preheating to 375. With your silicone pan, you do want to make sure, because it is flimsy, you want to make sure that you just have it on a flat baking sheet for support, easy in, easy out. So that's what we're going to start with. So I'm just going to start by cooking up some vegetables. So whatever you have. My pan is on medium high. I'm adding a little bit of olive oil. And like I said, the beauty of this is you can use whatever vegetables you want. We've heard so much about seasonal vegetables from Jolene and incorporating color. Michelle and I talk all the time about finding all these different ways to add in vegetables to what you're already doing. Eggs are like the first example I always use. So I love just like throwing things into the pan. So I pretty much dug out all of the things that were in my refrigerator, and that's what I'm using today. So the first thing that went into my pan, I got a little bit of olive oil that's heated up. I have some shallot. I had a shallot that was like starting to sprout on its own because it's been sitting around for so long. So I'm just going to let that cook and heat. I'm not adding any seasoning to it just yet. And then I'm going to start cutting my vegetables. So as I said, I've got some mushrooms, and then I have some peppers that I'm going to cut up. So if you have fresh herbs that you want to use, go for it. There's practically any vegetable that you have to be used can go into your egg muffin. Some of my favorites, of course, any kind of leafy green, not just spinach or kale, but I have some arugula here I'm using for my second recipe, but I could definitely throw that in with our frittata. One thing you do want to make sure of, I'm cutting my mushrooms to slightly smaller pieces because my egg muffins will be sort of the size of a cupcake, so to speak. I sort of want them to blend in nicely. So with both my peppers and my mushrooms, I am leaning on the side of making them a little bit smaller, so we don't have like these big pieces. If you don't like mushrooms, and I will say, I'm not a huge fan of mushrooms in general, but in an egg, sort of cut down like this, they're really good. And any mushroom would go. We know the benefits of mushrooms. They're one of the few foods in the food chain that contains natural vitamin D, which we're learning practically every day about the benefits of it. Eggs are also one of the other few foods that contain natural vitamin D. I'm going to add my mushrooms to the pan now, and then we'll get to keep cutting, keep chopping. But yes, so eggs are really full of nutrition. They are the only food in the food chain that has all fat soluble vitamins. So in the yolk, you will get vitamin A, D, E, and K, all within there. It's the only food out there. So I say eat the whole egg. And the best thing you can do is add vegetables to it. So all my mushrooms go in. I'm using a stainless steel pan. Use whatever kind of pan you want. I am going to add some seasoning to this now, to my mushrooms. And we're going to build flavor in the pan, right? So when I whip up my eggs, which I'll show you in just a moment, they'll be pretty plain, but we're going to use our vegetables to incorporate a ton of flavor. If you have a favorite savory seasoning that you like to use when you make your omelets or you make a frittata on your own, now is the time to, oops, oh, geez, Louise, runaway mushroom. Okay. It's not a cooking class in my kitchen unless I'm throwing things all over. So turn this down a little bit. All right, so we'll let these cook, and then I'll add some bell peppers. Again, so this is where color comes into play. So I went with orange. It's a little bit brighter. I went with some green, a nice pop of color. Use whatever you want. Red obviously would be delicious. I like even using those mini sweet peppers. And they have like the whole rainbow of colors, so they really look good. But use whatever you have on hand. So yeah, mushrooms are great. Our greens are great. I even like using into the early spring season. You'll start to see a lot of asparagus and spring peas come up. I love spring peas in my eggs. They add the most beautiful, like, pop of texture and a little bit of crunch in there. They're delicious. Okay. I didn't see that comment come all the way up because I'm on my phone here, but if you have questions along the way, as like with our cooking classes, feel free to add them into the chat.
Yeah, she was just, Jennifer was just asking about the shallot. She said she's never used them before. And is it more like an onion?
Oh, great question. Yeah, I should have said that. So it is like a mild onion. It's a little bit more of a delicate onion flavor. So if you are not too much of an onion fan, a shallot would be fine. But with that being said, you could use any onion that you want. So a red onion would be fine, a sweet onion, a Spanish onion. Yeah, a leek would even be good.
So she mentioned that onions are, you know, difficult on her digestion. So would a leek be better?
A leek would probably be better. I would start with a leek as opposed to a shallot to start off with. That's a really great question. But with the versatility of this kind of recipe, you could leave the onion and the shallot out altogether. So we lean into what you know you tolerate really well. And so if you know like onions are just out, it's not going to make and break the flavor of this recipe. So don't worry about it. Go with what you like. Yeah, so asparagus I love, so good. Green peas I love. Zucchini, summer squash is so good. There's a lot. You cook your vegetables to the texture that you like. I don't like them to go too long, especially because they're cut really small. They will cook up, but I do like them to get a little bit tender. So I'll let these go for just a few more minutes before I turn them off of heat. Now, what else we'll need are a bunch of eggs. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to end up using 10. I do recommend using something that has a lip. If you can see, I don't know if you can see that. It's just for easy pour, I would say, just for convenience, because what we'll end up doing is mixing this up and then pouring them into our muffin pan. So let's see if I can do this without getting a shell in here. That's why I cracked most of them ahead of time, let's be honest. But I love these. They're really delicious. You know, if you want just something light in the morning for breakfast, they reheat beautifully. And then use a whisk, use a fork, and then I just break these up. You can add some milk if that's like a tradition that you like. Sometimes when I make eggs, I will add just a little bit of water to them because that steam, when it's mixed, helps to create a really lovely, fluffy egg. So if you want to add a tablespoon or 2 of water to this, you can, but we're not going to add anything to it. However, if you have a family that likes cheese, I would add them right to your egg mixture here. So you could do any kind of shredded cheese if you want to add a little bit to it, or grate your own right in it, but I would just add this right to the mixture. So that's ready to go. My veggies are ready to go. As I said, with a silicone pan, unless it's like a pan that you use often, likely you do not need to grease it at all, which is really convenient, which I like it. So let's start divvying up our vegetables. Now, following the same steps, what you could also do is if I wanted to make just one big frittata, I could take that egg mixture and pour it entirely into the pan. I would leave it on heat for about a minute, just until I started to see the sides start to cook a little bit, and then I would pop it in my oven, and they cook up, gosh, probably 15 minutes or so, like pretty quickly. But that's how you could just go ahead and whip up a frittata as well, which is also really delicious. And it's just the larger size of this. But I really like these mini guys because you can just grab one or two. And even if you like to do something light for lunch, like if you have a side salad, this would be a really lovely accompaniment on the side. If you wanted something warm, I just don't want my muffins, my veggies. All right, so let's just try to be as delicate as we can here because this is hot. Okay, so once we divvy up all of our vegetables here, let me get all of these. Every last bit, nothing goes unnoticed. We will equally pour our egg mixture over top. And they puff up beautifully. I'll show you what they look like. Magic of television and all that good stuff, right? So these all go in. And then a little bit at a time. So generally you can probably get 3/4 away, if not fully poured. And like I said, we've added flavor into our vegetables. We used to make this recipe all the time when Michelle and I did our in-home cooking. And I had a woman that loved to put jalapeno in her eggs. And I thought, holy moly, you must really like spice. But she did. Ooh, we're a little smaller over here, but you could even do that as well. So, all right, so we have a little guy here, but that's okay. That's all right. So all our veggies go in. I'll set that to the side. And then this whole tray will go in. I'll pop them in. They'll bake for 20 to 25 minutes. You want to make sure, just like cooking a full frittata, when I look at them, I want to make sure that they've ballooned up nicely in the center, that there's no like wiggle when I move the tray a little bit. You trust me, you will know if they are done or not. So these will go in just middle of the oven like you would bake anything else. And I'll come back to these in about a little before 3 o'clock. So what do they look like when they're done? I'll show you. So what we have here, so what you're left with are like these little, beautiful little egg muffins. So when you take them out of the oven, there's much more of a rise to them. And then as they cool, they fall a little bit, but they're absolutely beautiful. And like I said, I usually let these cool and store them in an airtight container in your refrigerator. And then in the morning or with your lunch, you could pop them in the microwave if you wanted to reheat them and have them. So you see, we're getting all of these vegetables. I see peppers, I see green, really, really delicious. So super easy, super versatile, lots of spring greens in there. Jolene talked a lot about eating seasonally. So incorporating some of those liver health vegetables is a great way to get them in. So those are our quick and easy frittatas. Questions about this recipe at all?
No question.
Pretty straightforward, right?
I'm gonna say, I love to, when you said the jalapenos, Kate's face just like lit up there.
And I'll tell you what she did. So in the oil, when she heated that oil and the onion went in, add a little bit of that jalapeno. And then it sort of infused everything. And then she added our vegetables on top of it. And then we were making a big frittata, but that's how she incorporated it. And then it just sort of infuses that little bit of spice. Now, I like to have my spice with my eggs with a little bit of sriracha on it, but that's just me personally. So you can do whatever you want. So I love that. It's super easy. Any of us can make it. And like I said, what I also like about it is if you have a little bit of digestive issues and you want to cook that fiber of our vegetables just to make it easier on the digestion, just cook them a little more in your pan. That's totally fine. And then into the eggs, again, it's a great way to get some protein in, get some good nutrients, plus all of the goodness from the vegetables that are thrown in. So it is like a win-win situation. Melissa, did I see a question come through?
You did. Cynthia was asking, can you freeze them?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. You can freeze them and then let them defrost in the refrigerator and then reheat them. Yeah, but you can. And what I would say with the silicone pan, and I'll get to why I'm heating this, I'm going to toast some bread in a little bit. So I just have a grill pan here that I'm going to just throw some bread on for our second dish. But Oh,
Silicone
with your
pan.
silicone pan, to make 6, maybe it's just you at home and you're like, okay, I could have a couple for the next few days. Just fill, like you would something else, just fill your other open muffin pans with just some water, just so that you have something in it. And then there's sort of like even baking from a texture standpoint. Just add a little bit of water to it, but you certainly don't have to make 12 all at once if it's just you. Or if there's only one egg eater in the household. So there is a lot of versatility also in terms of questions. And even what I was doing, a couple of my little frittatas were a little shy of some egg. I would just whip up a couple more and pour those in, or whip up one more egg and then divide them between the two. So it is, you can play. It's really hard to screw up this kind of recipe, which I think we all appreciate, so. Any other questions before I move on?
This is not in the chat, but just curious, can you use an egg substitute? I know in one of the recent ones you did like a flax egg. So have you ever tried it with something like that?
I have not. I'll be perfectly honest. I have not. And I'm not sure how that would turn out.
Just curious.
Yeah, I don't know that you would get the same final, like the final product. I don't know how that would turn out. But if somebody tries it, I would love to know. I haven't done that on my own.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to our second one. So I love this. Again, if you're like hard-boiled egg, colored egg central in your house after Easter, this is a really great way to incorporate some of those. And I was telling Melissa earlier, I'm going to run to my refrigerator. She's like, I don't really like hard-boiled eggs. I'm like, oh, Melissa, we're grating our hard-boiled eggs, which is like amazing. So it creates this absolutely beautiful breakfast toast. And the egg is like light and fluffy and delicate. And I'm going to add some arugula because Jolene totally inspired me. And I was like, I have arugula. So I'm throwing arugula. We're throwing some avocado. So it's got lots of good stuff. So the first thing we want to do is just toast our bread. You could use any kind of bread you would like for your avocado toast, whatever you would normally use. If you'd like a multigrain, go for it. I have some sourdough here. That's what I'm using. A country loaf, a ciabatta, whatever you have at home, whatever you like, go for it. And we're just going to toast up a little bit here. So I'll just grab one that started to toast a little bit, and I'll let these go for a little bit longer. Okay, so then we have our toast here. I'll grab a plate. So this recipe calls for your first layer of this is using a particular type of mayo, like a thin layer of mayo. I personally do not really like mayo. I use it very infrequently. However, what I am using is this really fun sauce that I got from Trader Joe's, which kind of reminds me, if anyone took my healthy drive-through cooking class last summer, there was like Erin's like Big Mac sauce, which was like Greek yogurt and some dill, and there was some vinegar in it. And it was just like this, a little bit of sweet, got a little bit of bite to it. So I'm using that as my first layer, and I'm adding just a little bit of it here. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit savory. If you want to add a thin layer of mayo that you like, go for it, or whatever kind of condiment you like. Of course, you could leave this out altogether because the next thing we're adding is some avocado. So you could add sliced avocado. I have a little bit of just some mashed avocado that I have left over. So I'm using that. Again, like both of these are kind of like use what you have in your kitchen, which I really appreciate. Next, I'm adding a little bit more green. I love that we're sort of in this frame of mind with spring coming, and I'm adding some arugula, which I love. I also think what you could use instead is maybe a slice of tomato, some spinach leaves would be a good alternate. So whatever kind of light, delicate green you want to add to this, go for it. And then, are these toasted? Yeah, I'll come back to it. Here's where the magic is. A microplane and that purple hard colored Easter egg that you had, and like with all the grandkids, and we're grating it. So with your microplane right over top, we're just going to grate it. Now, I will say you do want your egg to be, and if it falls apart a little bit, there are worse things in life. You do want it to be cold, right? So you want it to be a little bit colder and firmer. So if you're going to hard boil your own eggs, I would make sure that you stick them in the refrigerator for at least half an hour. And we're just grating the whole thing over on top. And this is when I was telling Melissa, it creates this like super light consistency. So ooh, I'm really making a mess, but that's okay because it's delicious. So we have our grated egg on top. Let me move these out of the way. And then I'm adding a little bit of salt, pepper on top just for taste. I like a little bit of salt on my egg. Some black pepper. And this TikTok recipe, because you know we're hip and social here, does call for a little bit of sriracha on top. So I'm going to add just a very little bit. Of course, if heat is not your thing, just avoid this altogether. But I am going to drizzle a little bit. And then what you're left with is this like amazing avocado toast. And this is like, you get some good healthy carbohydrates from this. You get some really wonderful fat from the avocado and some protein, obviously. So from the egg on here. So this is like super tasty, and I will take a bite afterwards because I don't want to make a mess. But it is delicious because I made one this morning for breakfast and I was like, this is so good. But I love anytime we can spice up something like an avocado toast and use up things that we have in the in our refrigerator. So I really love this breakfast toast. And we have our veggie frittatas, great way to use seasonal produce, really pretty, really delicious, super easy to make, easy on digestion. I love these recipes. So questions about anything?
As always, it looks amazing. And I know that someone on here, Cynthia, Kate, Angela, someone is going to just try this right away. Jennifer, I know Jennifer was saying it's yummy. So yes, I know they're going to try it right away for sure.
Let us know what you think. I will write these recipes. They'll be on the blog. The frittata, like I said, really straightforward, but just so that you have some basic guideline steps. And the grated egg avo toast, I mean, make it your own. This is something that you can really be creative with, use all kinds of sauces and seasonings and really make it your own. But this is really delicious. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm always so curious about how you make it at home. Share your food photos with us. Yeah, really easy. Good, Dawn. I hope you like it. So yeah, so happy egging on Friday.
You put a new spin on egging, that's for sure.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
well, ladies, do you have any other questions for Erin? I mean, you know what, Erin, I think if I were to do that, I'd put as that first layer of spread like a hummus. I love hummus. So I would probably put that down.
I bet that would be even like a roasted red pepper hummus or something that did have a little bit of bite to it if you like heat. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's the hummuses out there are like, you know, all kinds of varieties. Oh yeah, so really picking one. And I don't think that there's a spread out there that you couldn't use something that you liked. So yeah, this is good for breakfast, good for lunch, like a nice little afternoon snack if you want something. This just kind of checks all the boxes.
Delicious. Delicious. Oh, wonderful. Well, listen, from the magic of Erin's kitchen, as she always does, we appreciate your cooking demo, and it's giving us something to try throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Happy brunching if you make it.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, thank you so much. You know, Erin and I are going to stick on for a moment, but thank you so much for being with us today. I really enjoyed our lineup of speakers today. And like I said, they just organically just like gelled with each other, and all the information just went so perfectly together. And then only Erin can pull off talking after a sexual talk and bringing a presentation with eggs. Only Erin Pellegrin can do this. So you will not find this anywhere else other than Unite for Her. Okay.
I love Sabitha. She's great.
Wonderful, wonderful information. Yes. But ladies, we were so thankful to have you here today. We hope you enjoyed. I will send over those resource lists. Erin will get this recipe for you. I'll send over the slides from Dr. Singh, and just we want you to have the information that's available to you. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can reach out to us individually and we'll be more than happy to help you. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you, Kate. We really appreciate you all. And listen, the sun is shining, hopefully wherever you are, and just enjoy that for this weekend. Yes. Thanks. Oh, Francis, nice to see you on. Yes. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks, Jennifer. You guys were all great today. Perfect. Have a great weekend, everyone. Erin, as always, I'm going to say I wish I was there so I could eat that with you. Yes.
It is so good.
Yes. Thanks, Angela. Wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Elizabeth, enjoy Savannah. Hope to be there soon.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Good. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your flexibility today.
Oh my gosh. Don't worry. It happens all the time. It's easy, you know. We can make it work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
This was great.
Yeah.
So much great information. And I loved how Dr. Singh, she just like so aligned.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She was a wonderful, like last minute, like she was wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, she already sent the slides over, so I will definitely send that out.
Oh, please. Yeah. Because I want Michelle to see them and Christina. Yeah.
Okay.
She was wonderful. Outstanding.
Good.